Hey guys, it's Jalen. Welcome back. I am here today to share with you my update for Paint in Every Palette. This is a project that I started by watching Paula at a Beauty Guru maybe do it. The original creator of this project, Paint in Every Palette, is Lady Pans-A-Lot. And I like to bring in palettes in 3 different categories because I am a little over the top. So I have 5 palettes that I bring in and these are all randomly chosen for me, but the 5 palettes, the first 5 are where I pick the shade. The next 3 palettes are randomly chosen where the shade is also randomly chosen for me. And then lastly, I have my Project Level Up palette. Project Level Up is a project that was created by Sophie, Alexandra, and I will leave her information down below as well as Paula and Lady Pans-A-Lot Instagram information in the description box. So let me share with you the palettes that I was working on because as you can tell, I have like 9 here. So for the 5 palettes that where I choose the shade, the first is the Tartlet Flirt palette. Then I have the Charlotte Tilbury Easy Smoky Eye palette. The Natasha Denona Mini Lila palette. The BH Cosmetics Absinthe palette. And wait, I had 6 last month because I thought I was going to be close to hitting pan on 1. The ColourPop Fame palette. And the 6th palette that I rolled in last month, this is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Norvina palette. This is the Mini Pro Pigment palette, Volume 1. Okay, so those were all the palettes that are randomly chosen, but I picked the shade. Now for the palettes that are randomly chosen and the shade is also randomly chosen for me. The BH Cosmetics Weekend Festival palette. The Bare Minerals Bare Sensuals palette. And the Lorac Refined Romance palette. My Level Up palette is the Lorac Desert Sunset palette. Now the question is, did I hit pan on any of these palettes? And the answer is yes. I actually have 3 palettes that are rolling out this month, which makes me so happy. I didn't think it was going to happen, but it happened. Okay, let's start with they actually all come from the 6 palettes that I was working on where I chose the shade. So the first one, this one has been in here the longest. It's the Tartlet Flirt palette. Oh my gosh, you guys. Finally, look at that. Oh my God, it took forever. These are very tightly packed shadows, and it's a lot of shadow. There's a lot of shadow in here. Anyway, pan. Yes, I can roll that one out. Next palette that I hit pan on was the one that I thought that I was going to hit pan on, which is the BH Cosmetics Absinthe palette. This one, or was it this one? No, it may have been the next one. I think it was the next one. Anyway, there's my pan. So, yay! I have pan in this thing. Woo! This is a newer palette to my collection-ish. The last palette that I hit my goal on of hitting pan is the Natasha Denona Mini Lila palette. I don't know if you noticed whenever I showed it to you originally, I covered up the purple shade. Anyway, I did hit pan in the shade Poison Berry. I think this is the one that I thought that I was going to hit my goal on very soon last month. And it was like maybe 1 or 2 uses. And then there was pan. So I had rolled in an extra palette last month. But yes, those are the 3 palettes that are rolling out of the project this month. So exciting. Now let's go through what I'm still working on. And let me just roll up my sleeve so I can swatch these. I didn't swatch these. Hopefully that's okay. The first palette that I'm working on, I'm actually wearing this one today. And I don't think I have very many uses left to hit pan on this. By Charlotte Tilbury, the Easy Smoky Eye palette. So I am working on this shade here. And I don't know how deep this palette, like the eyeshadows are in this palette. But I kind of feel like I'm close. We'll see. Anyway, there is the shade. And I do have it kind of like this. I have like 4 lid shadows on, but it's right here in the inner center part of my lid. So I think this may be a palette that I hit pan on. I kind of want to prioritize it because this is now the one that's been in here the longest. I think This Bare Sensuals palette, no, I think it's the Weekend Festival palette. That one's been in here longer, but in this category, it's the one that's been in here the longest. Moving on to the ColourPop Fame palette. I am working on the shade Lifestyle, which is right here. It's kind of hard to tell, but I do have a dip in this shadow. A couple of times I've actually gone in, and this is before I colored my hair. I did that, I think, earlier this week. I actually like to use this, or I was using this, to fill in or to cover up the grays because it's a nice dark brown shade, but it also has a little bit of a red hue, and that kind of goes with my hair color. It does feel like a very deep dip in there. So anyway, there's the shade. Yeah, see, it kind of matches my hair color. It's a really nice deep dark matte, which I love for just smoking out the outer corner of the eye. And then lastly, this is a palette that I pulled in last month, as I mentioned, the ABH Norvina Collection Mini Pro Pigment Palette Volume 1. It's a lot of words. And I rolled in this shade down here. And you can see that I do have a bit of a dip going in that shade. This is a very powdery formula, which is kind of similar to what I'm experiencing in the Norvina palette, the ABH Norvina palette, which is fine. It's a beautiful shadow. I am enjoying using it. It's lovely. I don't think this is close to hitting pan, but I could be wrong. Okay, so those are all the palettes where I chose the shade. Now for the palettes that were where the shade is randomly chosen. I have the BH Cosmetics Weekend Festival palette. Now, the shade that I'm working on is Dippy. It's just gonna take forever. It's a very, very bright pink. And here's the other problem with this shadow is it's a lid stainer, like big time. You don't need very much. And I typically mix this shade with other things to tone down this insane bright pinkness because not that I don't wear shades like this because I do, but I like to pair it with other things. So it's just going to be in here a while. And you can even see my finger. It has that little bit of a pink stain. So I don't know how deep these pans are, but yeah, it's taking time. Next, from Bare Minerals, I have the Bare Sensuals palette. I have been using this a bit more lately. I hadn't touched it before, but I've used it maybe once. But the shade I'm using is Shazam. And so the way that I've been using that shade is whenever I go in, after I've done the mattes and the crease and everything, I'll go in with my lid shadow. And I will set this down first before I put on a glitter primer. Now I have a couple of other shadows, or I should say I have one cream shadow that I kind of use in a similar way. So this doesn't get used every day. I'm trying to use this little Milk Makeup pigment that I have in my Throwback 30. So, but the days that I don't use it, I will use this. And it's fine. It's not a shadow that I necessarily like on its own in a regular makeup look, but I am enjoying it for that reason, for that purpose. The last palette in this section is the Lorac Refined Romance palette. This does have some face products as well, but the shade that was randomly chosen for me was this one. I think that's the one I'm going to hit pan in next because it is really flipping close. I was trying to dig for gold today, but I got the effect that I wanted, and then I was like, I can't put any more of this shadow on my eyes. This is close. It's going to happen, I would guess, in the next month. I'm guessing it's going to be in the next month or so, but, it could be that is a very deep pan, so who knows. Anyway, there's the shadow, and there's my current color story. So I think this time I'm going to pick the palettes that are replacing the 3 that I hit my goals on, and then we'll talk about the Level Up project palette. So I'm currently working on 3 in the section where I select the shades. So we're going to roll in 2 new palettes because I work on 5 in that section. Okay, so we're selecting 2 palettes. I did update this last month with the palettes that came into my collection. So let's see what we get. We're going for 2 new palettes. Okay. Oh, this is a new one. The Beauty Bay Midnight 42 color palette. That's 42 shadows. Oh my gosh. Okay. But I get to pick the shade. How exciting. And the second palette, the Glam Light Ice Cream Dream Palette. Those are fun palettes. Okay, let me grab these and I will be right back. Okay, I have the two palettes. This is really exciting. All right, the first one I have is the Beauty Bay Midnight 42 palette. So before I show this to you, I'm actually going to remove a shade that's shattered. I still haven't done anything with this. I don't know if you guys can see that shade there, shattered whenever it arrived. I tried to get this resolved and get them to send me a new palette. They never did. But that's okay because one palette they took months to send to me. That didn't arrive. Hi, not Milo. Marley. Hi, Marley. Okay, bye. Let me flip this around. Here we go. That's what it looks like. I think some of this shadow got on other shades, but I'll deal with that in a bit. So anyway, here's the palette. This is going to be so hard. I have to think about what purples I have in, or blues I have in projects right now. All I can think about is what Andrea from Pretty as a Peacock would be yelling at me to pick right now. Okay, I was tempted to bring in a matte, but I'm working on, 4 mattes right now? 1, 2, 3, 4 mattes. And only one shimmer, and this shimmer here is really not a shimmer that I'm using on my lids, so I decided to go for a shimmer, and I'm probably going to surprise many people, but I'm going with the shade Shield, this one down here. I don't have anything like this right now that I'm working on. I did not go with a purple. This color is beautiful. I didn't go with a purple because some of these shades are really similar. I mean, I would use them in the same ways I would use the purple in my Norvina palette. And there's not something that's super dark. Maybe this one. But even then, it's not really dark. Like this one here. It's not really super dark. So I decided to go with a blue. Who am I? Anyway, I have my broken eyeshadow in this little silicone cup. And I will repress that. But yeah, we're going to go with the shade Shield. Lord help me. Well, let me say this. I am picking that now, but I may change my mind based on the next palette. So let's look at that one. So here is the Glam Light Ice Cream Dream packaging. And I still haven't... I want to keep this, but it's so bulky. Anyway, here is the adorable palette. I'm dead. And here are the shades. How cute. Okay, now I have to pick an eyeshadow. Okay, I've made my decision. I'm going to go with the shade Rainbow Sherbet right there. That pink kind of raspberry shade. And this one I want to use because the pink in my Norvina palette is not that great of a pink. And so I'm hoping by pulling in another warm toned pink, this will help me not only use that shadow, but also help me with some of these other shadows that I have in this project to get some use on them. Anyway, there is my color story. It's a lot of pink. That's okay though, with a pop of blue. Oh, this is so exciting. So what shades would you have chose? Are you happy with my choices, or should I swap this pink out for something else? I was tempted by this purple. I was also tempted by the shade Birthday Cake. Should I do Birthday Cake? I've used a lot of greens lately. That's why I'm kind of like wanting to steer clear of greens. because I've been using a lot of them lately. Anyway, I'm going to stick with the pink, but if you have a different opinion, you just let me know down below. Oh my gosh, I almost ended this video without talking about my Level Up palette. So the one I'm working on for Project Level Up is the Lorac Desert Sunset palette. This is level 2, so I need to use each shade twice and then hit pan on 2 shades. This palette is very dirty, and so I really want to clean it, so that's what we're going to do right now. I have my wipe over product with a good base, and we're going to clean this puppy up. So much better. Ugh. Here is the palette. I do not have any pans quite yet. I am working on 2 shades in particular. So before I go into the ones that I'm focusing on, let me show you the ones I have hit my 2 use goal on 3 shades. I've hit it on this shade, and this shade here. I have 1 use on this shade, and this shade, which I'm surprised I don't have use on the purple yet, but that's how it is. So the reason why some of these haven't really been touched yet is because they're kind of similar to what's in my Pan That palette. For example, well, and I should say like this one is very similar to the shade in that Lorac palette that I was showing you, the Refined Romance, where I'm trying to hit pan. And, you know, these shades down here, like this one in particular, I haven't touched yet because I have a shade really similar to this in my Pan That palette. So it's a lovely shade. The shades I'm focusing on right now, I originally thought it was going to be the purple and like this burgundy shade, but it's actually this shade here. You can probably tell I have been working on this one. This is the inner corner that I'm wearing today. And I'm also working on this shade here. This is a great first crease shade. So that's kind of how I'm using it. And it's kind of hard to tell, but I do have a dip going in this one. It's pretty powdery. I don't think it's going to take me long to hit pan in that one. This inner corner shade is a bit more tightly packed. So I think it's going to take some time, but yeah, those are the 2 shades I'm currently focused on. I mean, that very well could change, but that's kind of where my goals are right now. Let me just swatch this purple again because I need to remind myself how nice it is. It's okay. It's an okay purple. It's not great. Anyway, that's how my Project Level Up palette is going. I would like to have both these pans next month, but I don't know if it's possible. I'm using that palette pretty much every day. So it's possible. You just never know. Anyway, that is going to be it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you're doing well and staying safe. Please hit that subscribe button and I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Ziggy sees Marley and he's jealous. Hi. Hey, come here. Come here. Hi. He's just going to stay right there. Okay, bye.